to the lure of that even when the daily struggles seem overwhelming. One of my formative experiences that led me towards a career in science was
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
गुड मॉर्निंग, कौन बोल रहा है?
अली जुल्करनैन मैम।
अली जुल्करनैन, हाउ आर यू?
मैम ठीक, आप कैसे हैं?
हेलो जरेश।
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
गुड मॉर्निंग, हाउ आर यू?
I'm fine. How are you?
फाइन, थैंक यू। तुम्हारी आवाज में नींद है ना?
नहीं मैम, I'm awake. Fully.
रात को टाइम पे सोया करो, राइट?
Okay, ma'am.
और कौन है हमारे साथ? बिलाल। हेलो बिलाल।
मैम मेरा एक सवाल था आपसे।
कौन बोल रहा है?
मैम अली जुल्करनैन।
अली जुल्करनैन, बोलो।
मैम ये जो हमारा फाइनल है मैम, वो कैंपस पे होगा?
ये अभी तक नहीं हम कह सकते, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली ऑनलाइन होगा।
मैम मैं वही बात कर रहा था क्योंकि मेरा तो सारा सेमेस्टर ही ऑनलाइन है।
तुम्हारा सारा सेमेस्टर ऑनलाइन है? कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं इस क्लास में जिनका सारा सेमेस्टर ऑनलाइन है?
मैम इसका मुझे नहीं पता, मैं मेरा बता सकता हूँ।
अच्छा, मैं पूछती हूँ अभी बच्चों से कितने बच्चे सारे ऑनलाइन हैं।
जी मैम।
हाँ, वी शुड नो दैट, फिर हम प्लान करते हैं, ठीक है?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम अबू बकर।
वालेकुम सलाम अबू बकर, हाउ आर यू?
आई एम गुड, व्हाट अबाउट यू मैम?
आई एम फाइन, थैंक यू।
मैम मैंने पूछना कि फर्स्ट को यूनिवर्सिटी
बेटा
खुल रही है
अबू
ना,
बकर बात
इवन
कर
आउट
रहा है?
होगी? यस मैम, यस।
बेटा अभी तक तो हमें यही इंफॉर्मेशन है कि फर्स्ट से ब्लेंडेड मोड है, व्हिच मींस ऑड इवन वाला, ठीक है?
ओके मैम।
आपको भी तो ईमेल आई होगी, आपको आती है ईमेल?
यस मैम, नहीं आई थी ना, इसलिए पूछा है आपसे।
बाकी नहीं आई?
आई है मैम।
वो मैंने उन्हें मेल की है, तो वो उनका मेरा लगता है ईमेल मिसप्लेस हो गया उनसे।
हाँ तो गई तुम्हारी ईमेल ही, अगर तुम्हारा।
Good morning, ma'am.
गुड मॉर्निंग, कौन बोल रहा है? अबीरा।
Abira, ma'am.
क्या हाल है अबीरा?
Ma'am, good. आप कैसी हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ। अमिलिया, हेलो। अमिलिया।
Hello. Good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
गुड मॉर्निंग, हाउ आर यू?
Fine, ma'am. How are you?
आई एम फाइन, थैंक यू। अरीशा। ये बिलाल कामिल कौन है? अच्छा, there's a student Bilal Kamil trying to enter. I don't know even if he's a student. I don't know this person. So can somebody please post a message on WhatsApp saying that you have to log in with your proper username? कौन करेगा ये मैसेज?
मैम मैं करता हूँ, मेरे ख्याल से ये मोहम्मद बिलाल है।
मोहम्मद बिलाल तो आ चुका है क्लास में, he is already in the class. है ना मोहम्मद बिलाल? हमजा डार भी आ रहा है, ओके। मैसेज कौन कर रहा था? हेलो चांद खुशी।
Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Ma'am, fine. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Hamza Dar. Hello, Hamza Dar. Are you there? If I don't hear you reply, it means either you're not there or there's someone else who logged in your place, है ना? So please be careful. ठीक है? Okay. So Hamza Dar, if you're there, please speak up. Hamza Dar निकल गया. Good. Okay. And Hunan. Hello, Hunan. Maiza.
Yeah,
Hunain.
ma'am.
Hunain भी निकल गया है. Hunain.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Muaz.
Yes, ma'am.
Fariduddin.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Rana Shabazz.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What about you?
I'm fine, thank you. So, okay, I think now we have enough students in the class and we can start again. Did someone send a message on WhatsApp? Regarding
मैम दिस इज सनिया, आप मेरी अटेंडेंस चेक कर लें, मैं भी क्लास में.
क्या कौन बोल रहा है?
सनिया अहमद.
हाँ, अभी मैं अटेंडेंस दोबारा लूंगी, ठीक है?
ओके मैम.
Okay, right. So, let me share my screen with you. Okay, so the topic we are going to study today is gravitational waves or gravitation. Okay? ठीक है?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I would like you all to contribute one by one. You tell me your name before you answer. What you know about gravitation? What's your idea of what it deals with and how familiar you are with this? ठीक है? So who would like to start? Yes?
Ma'am, was
Jim was.
gravitation is like the force of attraction between two objects that contain massive mass,
Okay.
like the Earth and the Moon.
Okay, right. Okay. Anyone else would like to add anything? Who would like to say something about gravitation? Anything from your previous knowledge. I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard the word gravitation. You can talk about an example, an application, a formula, an idea, a concept, anything that you can relate to gravitation. Bolo? It's a very interesting topic, in fact. I would like you to come up with something. Yes? हेलो, या मैं खुद आपके नाम बुलाऊं फिर?
मैम इट्स अली जुल्करनैन.
जी जुल्करनैन.
मैम
यस, इसमें घबराने की कोई बात नहीं है. चलो मुआज को हम 1 पॉइंट देते हैं, मुआज ने हमें कुछ बताया है, ठीक है? So let's give 1 point to Moaz, and then we proceed. Ji Zulkarnain, what's your idea? What would you like to say? Moaz, इतना time नहीं लेना. अच्छा.
हेलो
Yes.
मैम आवाज नहीं आ रही
आ रही है मुझे. बोलो. कौन बोल रहा है?
मैम अली जुल्करनैन
बोलो जुल्करनैन.
मैम ये एक ऐसा नेचुरल फिनोमेना है जिसके मैम स्टार गैलेक्सीज मून ये आपस में मैम अट्रैक्ट होते हैं.
Okay, so that's interesting. ठीक है, so he talked about this is a phenomena that has to do with the stars, the galaxies. Galaxy क्या होता है? The moon, है ना? Galaxy क्या होता है जुल्करनैन? Okay, who would like to continue? ठीक है जुल्करनैन, that's enough for you. Who would like to continue from here? Beta, a lot of science fiction movies, a lot of documentaries, a lot of information, a lot of videos are available about this. It's one of the more very interesting topics in physics. So I would like you to say something about it. Yes, and I'll give you a point. Yes.
I'm Mohammed Fareed. Ma'am, as every object on the earth has a weight and the downward force act on it, that is gravity, that attracts everybody, that earth attracts everybody toward itself, and it's also a force between two object matters, but it is too big to observe. And we can also say that the gravity of is made by of falling bodies is acceleration that is on earth, its value is 9.8 meter per second here.
Okay, so you're talking about gravitational acceleration G that we've been talking about, है ना? So there is, you're talking about, अच्छा ये किसने, who gave us this law that every body in this universe attracts every other body with a certain force? ये किसने दिया था law? Do you remember?
Newton.
हाँ, कौन बोल रहा है?
अबीरा.
अबीरा भी बोली है, और कौन उसके साथ बोले?
I'm Fareed.
फरीद, ठीक है फरीद. Okay, Abira, can you explain what this law is? थोड़ा सा बता सकती हैं आप?
Sure, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Newton's law was that.
Newton's law of gravitation. Previously, we studied Newton's laws of motion. Now we are talking about
Yes,
Newton's law of gravitation. So, what is the Newton's
Gravitation.
law of gravitation? Huh?
Ma'am, it stated that every particle that is present on this earth attracts every other particle with a force which is directly proportional to their masses.
Very good. Okay. हाँ, आगे बोलो अगर बोलना है तो.
And it's also inversely proportional to the distance to the square of the distance of the centers, and its formula was force equals to gravitational constant mass 1 and mass 2, which is divided by the distance between the centers of the masses.
Okay, very good. That's great. Okay, Abira. So Abira gets 1 point. Okay. Who would like to say something? इसके अलावा? There's a lot to say about this. ये तो नहीं कि खत्म हो गया. Abu Bakr, would you like to say something?
Ma'am,
Even if you watched the movie about gravitation, it's fine.
Gravitation force is a force that attracts, that pulls the weight on the surface of the earth.
Pulls the weight on the surface of the earth. Achha, you should be careful about the terminology that you use, because this is a scientific course and every terminology has a specific meaning. ठीक है ना? So therefore you should be careful about using the right terminologies. ठीक है अबू बकर? अच्छा मुझे बताओ, ये अबीरा ने अभी जो फॉर्मूला बताया है, ये फॉर्मूला क्या है भला? बोलोगे? आपको पता है इसका?
No, ma'am.
आपको नहीं पता इसका? कौन बताएगा इस फॉर्मूला के बारे में? अच्छा कौन बताए? कौन, क्या नाम है? हमजा. यस हमजा।
हमजा
जी हमजा।
मैम वो फार्मूला को रिपीट करूं?
हाँ बोलो क्या है फॉर्मूला?
मैम force is equal to gravitational constant into mass 1 mass 2 divided by square of the distance between
What's
them.
the symbol for gravitational constant?
Ma'am G. Ma'am, gravitational constant has also value which is 6.67
No, you don't have to tell me the value. Okay.
raised to the into 10 raised to the power.
अच्छा G we said is acceleration due to gravity. उस G और इस
Okay,
G उस G और इस G में क्या फर्क है? हमजा?
मैम ये कांस्टेंट है और इसकी वैल्यू फिक्स होती है
और इसका
मगर जो
सिंबल,
ग्रेविटेशनल
इसका
एक्सेलरेशन है
सिंबल
इस वैल्यू में डिफर। जी
G
जी मैम
G उसका
कैपिटल जी
capital G, ये फर्क। So
कैपिटल जी
the symbol for acceleration due to gravity that we studied in the previous chapters was small g. This is different. This is a gravitational constant and its symbol is capital G. Okay, आपसे पूछा था गैलेक्सी क्या होती है, कौन बताएगा गैलेक्सी क्या होती है? ये समझा, इट्स ओके, थैंक यू। नेक्स्ट कौन बताएगा कि गैलेक्सी क्या होती है? व्हाट इज अ गैलेक्सी?
Ma'am, it's a cluster of stars and all the other celestial bodies that are moving around in a circular path around a black hole.
अच्छा, ये कौन बोल रहा है?
Arisha.
Arisha. Okay, Arisha. Okay, so next I would like to ask someone else other than Arisha. I would like to ask about an example of a galaxy that you're familiar with. Yes, कौन बताएगा?
Milky Way galaxy.
Very good. कौन बोल रहा है? कौन बोल रहा है?
फरीद.
फरीद. Very good. Okay, so Milky Way कौन सा?
In which we live in.
हाँ, ये जो हमारा अर्थ जो है ना, इसके पास जो है, ठीक है, बल्कि we are a part of this galaxy, right? बल्कि इसके बहुत से इमेजेस भी आप देख सकते हैं, है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक, किसको शौक है एस्ट्रोनॉमी का? यह अक्सर बच्चे, छोटे बच्चों को भी होता है. It's a very interesting. Some people are hobbyists, है ना? So, is anyone of you a hobbyist in this area? Is anyone of you a hobbyist in this area? किसी को है शौक वो एस्ट्रोनॉमी देखने का, कोई इवेंट्स देखने का, टेलीस्कोप से देखने का, उसको फॉलो करने? There are many apps that you can use. There are many websites that you can use for free. किसी को शौक है इस क्लास में? Come on. So Milky Way is the galaxy that contains our solar system and we are a part of this system, ठीक है ना? But there are many other galaxies in the world as well. So कोई करता है ये astronomy? You know that World Astronomy Day भी होता है, Space Day भी होता है. What's the main very important organization that you can follow for? और बड़ी simple school level बच्चे भी आराम से follow कर सकते हैं उसको. It's very simple. So
NASA.
NASA, yes, NASA से आपको बहुत अच्छे images मिल सकते हैं related to astronomy, for example, and the Milky Way and the galaxies and all these topics. बहुत अच्छी आपको images मिल जाते हैं, animations मिल जाती हैं, बहुत अच्छी videos मिल जाती हैं, documentaries मिल जाती हैं. Is that true? Do you follow that? Does anyone of you follow this? अच्छा, पाकिस्तान में कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है that deals with such events? वो बच्चों के लिए, बड़ों के लिए, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ऐसे इवेंट्स कौन कराता है पाकिस्तान में? हेलो, बोलो ना, आप लोगों को कोई ऐसा शौक नहीं है?
स्पार्को में
स्पार्को करवाता है. वेरी गुड. सो you can follow this event. ये लाहौर में है स्पार्को है ना, आपको पता है, and ये venue एक FC में भी बना था एक दफा, many times बल्कि मैंने ये event करवाया था कुछ साल पहले इधर FC में भी, with the help of Sparko and other organizations. So you can follow their events. आसपास ही हो रहे होते हैं, लाहौर में ही हो रहे होते हैं many times. NASA को भी आप follow कर सकते हैं. These are big international events, and many people do this as a hobby. Okay, so you don't need to know a lot of physics for this. In fact, it's very basic school level physics चाहिए होती है. ठीक है? अच्छा, और इसके अलावा what I would like to draw your attention to, it's a very, very interesting topic. There's a lot to say about this, of course. We will study this from the point of view of the course, but in addition to that, there's a lot you can do with this. ठीक है? For example, I can ask you about some important things that maybe you might have followed on the internet or on social media. Talking about astronomy, you know the Lahore Astronomical Society? Is someone familiar with this? They have a Facebook page. You can join their page and you can become a part of this society for free, and you can follow their events, and you can visit them or whatever you want to do. ठीक है? सही है?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can find local events happening, you can find international events happening, you can find a lot of apps that help you, follow these activities, to see the sky, to see different galaxies or stars or planets or moons or whatever. So another thing I would like to draw your attention is, now I'm writing on the word on the board a name. Are you familiar with this name? आप लोग familiar हैं इस नाम के साथ?
No, ma'am.
Very bad. No, क्यों? You should know this name. Are you familiar with this?
No, ma'am.
No again. Acha, are you familiar with the Nobel Prize 2017? पता है इसके बारे में? No again.
No.
अच्छा, are you familiar?
मैम I think ये पाकिस्तानी साइंस.
कौन बोल रहा है?
मैम ये पाकिस्तानी साइंटिस्ट थी मैं हमजा डार.
हाँ हमजा, वेरी गुड. पाकिस्तानी साइंटिस्ट हैं, क्या करती हैं?
मैम इनके साथ भी ये दो लोग थे, एक मेल और एक दो लोग थे, ये एक मेल और एक फीमेल. इन्होंने ग्रेविटेशनल वेव्स को ऑब्जर्व किया था.
Very good. Okay, great. So she's a American scientist of Pakistani origin. She was born in Lahore. ठीक है? And she's working in MIT. She was working in the physics department in MIT, and then she became the head and the dean. And she's a part of this project, which is called LIGO, laser interferometry for gravitational observations, right? And this was a big experiment, a big project in which, for the first time, they observed gravitational waves that were predicted by Einstein. And the people there were a lot of people working on this, and they got the Nobel Prize of 2017, and which was a great big breakthrough, and it was celebrated. And she also came to Lahore to visit Lahore, and she addressed the convocation in ITU Lahore. ITU क्या है? बेटा आप कुछ भी नहीं फॉलो करते, सोशल मीडिया पे क्या फॉलो करते हो आप लोग?
It's a university in Lahore.
हाँ, it's a university in Lahore.
Alpha Cream Tower, ma'am.
बिल्कुल ठीक है. And वहाँ पे she gave a lecture. She was also given an award by Pakistan in recognition of the work that she has done. जाहिर है बहुत से लोग काम कर रहे थे इस प्रोजेक्ट में, but she was also playing a very major role in this project. ठीक है, she was not the only one anyway. So, but again, we are very proud of the work that was done, and she was given appreciation by the government of Pakistan as well, and she addressed the graduates in this convocation in ITU. Okay, so I would like you to go up and check these events. These are very important, right? So this will give you an idea of what's happening. And again, even if you're not a physics major, these are common things that many young uh, students and people do for just as a hobby, because they're very interesting. They tell you about the world you're living in. It's related to everyone. So it's not a subject that's only for people who major in it. There are many aspects that are interesting for people who are even non-majors. Okay. So I will try to share a small video. Let's see if I can. नहीं ये वाली, right? Okay, let's see. Can you see the video?
It's a pleasure to stand here before you.
Can you see the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Today,
Yes, ma'am.
I've been associated with one of the major discoveries of scientific discoveries of our time. And since the time that these discoveries were made public last year, Pakistanis everywhere have showered me with warm congratulations and pride. And I've been moved by all this attention. And I thank you all very much for it, especially my friends at ITU for bringing me here to be part of this, the recipient of this inaugural Lahore Technology Award. Gravitational waves were considered to be an impossible dream to ever detect. Einstein predicted them over 100 years ago, and he himself said they would never amount to anything useful. When I began working on these 27 years ago, it was seen as a fool's errand, and yet we've done it. And the reason I bring this up to you today, graduates, is that I hope each and every one of you will experience the euphoria of scientific breakthrough in your careers, and that you'll hang on to the lure of that even when the daily struggles seem overwhelming. One of my formative experiences that led me towards a career in science was repairing bicycles in Karachi when I was a child. I had inherited an ancient rally bike from my older cousin, and that bike was in constant need of repairs and care. As a 10-year-old, I did not have the money to pay the bike shop, so the bicycle wala taught me how to repair my bike. If I needed parts, he let me have them in exchange for my labor in repairing other bikes that came to his shop. Next door to the bicycle shop was an electrician. When I wanted a bike light, he taught me to cobble together a dynamo. Now, those two men had little formal education themselves and probably never thought of themselves as educators. And yet they taught me things I never could have learned in school at that age and at maybe no age. Years later, the electronic and mechanical skills I learned in their shops played a role in landing me a position as a graduate student at MIT in the group of my PhD advisor, who was this year in 2017, the Physics Nobel laureate, Ray Weiss. So the one lesson I've learned is that our teachers are everywhere and they play a unique and important role in our lives. So students, graduates, please never forget that. You too are the generators of ideas, not just absorbers and executors of other people's ideas. Always innovate. So my last request for you is to take this extraordinary education you received, combine it with principles of integrity and kindness in everything you do, work with others who have walked a different journey than yours, stand up to the forces that destroy equal opportunity for everyone, and you will change the world. At a time when tribalism is on the rise worldwide, the gap between rich and poor grows ever wider, when the health of our beautiful planet is more threatened than ever, when education itself is under siege, your generation is our hope. I hope you will use your education to be a force for good always. Congratulations again and thank you.
Okay, so this was just an introduction for you guys. I would like you to, explore the topics that I have mentioned just now while we were discussing an introduction to the chapter. I would like you to explore these topics. And I've also posted some material on Moodle that I would like you to look into. Okay, so this will help you get a broader context of the topic. I'm not just limiting you to the book alone. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you all this in the examination, but I think it's very interesting to know these things. Okay. Also, I wanted to remind you guys that I wanted to also remind you that you have to regularly do your lab work. You remember that? Are you regularly doing your lab work? So your homework is that you should go and explore these topics. This will help you get a broader context on the chapter that we are studying. And also your homework every week for the lab, every week, okay? So there's a homework for the class, which is always to revise and study the chapters that we are doing and to solve problems related to them. And for the lab every week, your lab homework is to study and practice the lab material that I am uploading. Okay, every week I upload material related to the lab, and I would like you to study and practice that material so that you are prepared for your final lab exam as well. Okay. Okay. So again, like I say, you cannot prepare an exam over one night or over one weekend. So you should regularly make some time every week on Wednesday to study this material, just like you would do in a normal live session or in a normal face-to-face class. So the only difference now is that you're doing it online. So I've given you links to practice the material that we are uploading. These are virtual labs. So this will help you prepare for the final lab exam that we will have. And you know that this carries a significant percentage of the course. Okay. So are you guys doing this every week? So you should have at least 2 to 3 hours every week on Wednesday to do this work. Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is for the theory class, and Wednesday you also have to prepare for the lab. Okay. So it doesn't matter whether you're doing it in a live class or you're doing it in an online platform, but you have to do this because this is a 4-credit course and you will be given credit for the lab work that you do. Okay, so now I'm going to take the attendance. Okay, so Sarmad, Amar, Abu Bakr,
Present, ma'am.
Babar Fatma, Fatma Babar, Fatma Babar, Usman Bajwa, Anam Basharat, Bilal Muhammad, Hamza Dar, Fariduddin, Kessler.
Yes, ma'am.
कौन
Yes,
बोला?
ma'am.
कौन बोला?
Ma'am Fareed.
Hamza Dar, ma'am.
Okay, right. Kessler, Zaresh, Harith.
Yes, ma'am.
Haris present, ma'am.
Okay, Muaz, Hafiz
Present, ma'am.
Ibrahim.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Huma, Irshad, Alina, Khalid.
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am. Alina Khalid.
Okay. Hunain, Mohammed Hunain.
Yes, ma'am.
हुनैन बोल रहा है. अच्छा. राना शहबाज, सनिया अहमद.
Present, ma'am.
There's another question for the whole class, and this is, there was a student asking me in the beginning of the class, are there any students in this class who have taken permission to stay online throughout the semester? Please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. I am. Yes, Ali Zulkarnain.
Haris.
एक मिनट, कौन है? अली जुल्करनैन.
Haris, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
अली जुल्करनैन is online. Total online है.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
और हारिस?
Yes, ma'am. Haris.
और
I'm totally online.
Ma'am Alina Khalid.
कौन?
Alina Khalid. Alina Khalid.
अलीना खालिद. और कौन है?
मैम मौज मैम.
Muaz, you are also totally online.
मैम पहले नहीं था, अब हो जाएगा मेरा. मैंने इनसे बात कर ली है.
अच्छा, get a formal permission, okay? मुझे भेज देना आप
Yes, I'll forward it to you, ma'am.
सब लोग मेरी बात सुनो, जिस जिसको परमिशन मिली मुझे फॉरवर्ड करो ईमेल जो परमिशन मिली है, ओके?
मैम मैंने आपको क्यों है पहले से ही।
बेटा दोबारा
Yes,
कर दो
ma'am.
क्योंकि मुझे इकट्ठे एक दफा मिल जाए। हाँ
Okay.
ओके मैम मैं ढूंढता हूँ।
अच्छा, मेरे पास अब नाम आए अली जुल्करनैन, हारिस, अलीना खालिद एंड मुआज। और कोई है? नहीं, ओके राइट। सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट अरीशा खुरम, खुशी चांद,
Present, ma'am.
माइजा आसिफ,
Present, ma'am.
यूसुफ पतरस, नो, अबीरा,
Present, ma'am.
ओके, नादिया मुख्तार, हयान अहमद, शरल नदीम, मोहम्मद अशरेफ, हुदा जहूर, अमीलिया सैमुअल, बिस्मा
Present, ma'am.
कौन? अमीलिया,
Amelia.
ओके, बिस्मा शब्बीर, सदीकुल्ला, सुहेब ताहिर, तलहा मोहम्मद, अली जुल्करनैन।
प्रेजेंट मैम।
ठीक है। अच्छा, now please students who have the permission from the vice rector's office to completely go online, please forward those emails to me, and in the subject line of the email write physics 103b permission for online study. प्लीज अगर कुछ और लिखोगे वो मेरे स्पैम में चली जाएगी या गुम हो जाएगी। समझ आ गई है ना? क्योंकि अब हमने फाइनल ग्रेडिंग करनी है, आई शुड हैव द इंफॉर्मेशन, एंड ताकि मैं फिर फाइनल एग्जाम प्लान।
फाइनल एग्जाम का क्या होगा?
हाँ जी, वही मैंने प्लान करना है, इसलिए आपसे मांग रही हूँ इंफॉर्मेशन। ओके, इज दैट क्लियर? ठीक है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we have how many minutes do we have? Let's see. कितने मिनट हैं? थोड़े से मिनट हैं। Anyway, so I am going to share the book with you, the chapter that we are talking about, and I would like as a homework for you to go through this and study this, and we will continue to study this chapter. It's a very interesting chapter. It's about gravitational. Gravitation. We talked about the Newton's law of gravitation, which you know, and many of you have also described it just now. So during the discussion, we talked about it, and we know that this is a law according to which the force between two bodies is given by the product of the masses of the two bodies, and it's inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, and this is multiplied by a constant which is g, and g is the gravitational constant. This is different than the small g that we were studying before. Okay, right. And I think we have a few minutes for this meeting to end. Okay, so after 2 minutes the class will end, and then I leave this as a homework for you to study, and we will continue this in the later classes. Okay, so again, this is a diagram that shows you this force between two bodies m1 and m2, and we know that this force is a vector quantity, and it acts along the direction of the vector r. R hat is the unit vector. And there's another concept which is known as the principle of superposition. So the gravitational law is based on the principle of superposition, according to which the total force acting is a sum of all the forces acting between the particles. So we've already studied many things about this. You're familiar with the name superposition. Superposition means it's an addition, a total of many different values. So it can be represented with a summation sign. And if you have a large number of quantities and you're summing over them, then you can convert this to an integral sign. Okay. So we will do these problems in the next class. Again, gravitation near the Earth's surface, we can talk about gravitational force between two bodies, or we can also talk about the gravitational force between larger bodies like planets and the Earth and the Moon and the stars and so on. And this is an example of the Earth. Okay, the mass of the Earth is represented here by capital M. In the last example, it was represented by two bodies m1 and m2, but in this case the mass of the Earth is normally represented with capital M, and then the other body would be small m. Again, this is a table that shows you that the acceleration varies with altitude, that is height, okay, above the surface of the Earth. So you can see these values changing. And we can also see that the value is different for, let's say, the North Pole or the equator, and we can again go into detail next time, right? So these are the topics that we are talking about. Again, gravitational potential energy again is an important